Our next guest is no stranger to the convention stage. Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota spoke earlier, and she's speaking again tonight as part of the powerhouse group of Democratic female senators who, you guys kind of travel in a pack. You're like a girl gang.
We're like the sisterhood of the traveling pantsuits.
Yeah.
But yes, and as you know, Secretary Clinton used to be a woman senator, and she used to be part of our group. And so this is going to be a big part of our presentation tonight. It's going to be talking about some personal stories. People have actually worked with her.
Yes.
So I'm not going to ask you to let the cat out of the bag and tell those stories, but what will those stories illustrate?
They'll show her leadership and also her humanity. My story is about when the Haiti earthquake happened back in 2010. Rubble, chaos, 160,000 people dead. And Minnesota moms were on the ground. They had finished adoptions, but all the paperwork was lost. And they called me, and I called the only person I knew it would help. It was Hillary Clinton, and she didn't pawn it off. She got it done. And the next day, those babies and their moms were in a car on the way to the airport. And I've met these kids since they've grown up, and I don't think they're going to ever know what she did for them, and that's a leader.
I don't think there's any doubt that she'll do at least pretty well tonight, and she could do extraordinarily well. Does it matter? Does it matter how good her speech is tonight for her chances of winning?
I think it does matter because you've seen this kind of build up with some tremendous speeches this week from Michelle Obama and Barack Obama and, of course, Joe Biden, President Clinton. I'm not going to name everyone, but there's been this build up. And she's going to be compared to Donald Trump, who spoke, as you know, 76 minutes, pretty angry speech, pretty angry crowd out there. And now this is her chance to show something different. And I think you're going to see a little more humanity, and I think you're going to see a little more detail on policy and issues as you've seen this entire week. Instead of people chanting lock her up at the Democratic convention, they were chanting love Trump's hate. So it has been a different atmosphere here. And you've also seen people like Mayor Bloomberg, people with business backgrounds. You're going to see military people today talk about her ability to be a strong commander-in-chief.
There were a few Democrats earlier this week chanting lock her up, and it actually leads me to the question I want to ask. This convention has obviously tried to make people in America more familiar with some of Hillary Clinton's attractive human attributes and introduce her in some ways, even though she's a very familiar figure. Her biggest problem right now in polling is her trustworthiness. There are a lot of people who don't trust her. Has this convention done anything to help that?
Well, I think it has. I mean, probably the commander-in-chief last night when he talked about the fact so heartfelt that she has been in the arena, that she may not be perfect, but when you're in the arena, you piss people off from time to time, you make mistakes, and he talked about the fact, and this is really my favorite part, for anyone that's in politics right now, that it's not a spectator sport. You just can't stand on the sidelines and complain, and the fact that she's been in there getting things done and that he trusts her. And I bet you the thing that people will remember the most when he said she's more qualified than I was, she's more qualified than Bill, she's the most qualified person to ever run for president.
Your delegation's got a lot of Bernie supporters in it, Bernie delegates, and although things aren't like they were Monday and part of Tuesday in the hall, around town you still hear Bernie people, a lot of young people chanting pretty negative things about her. Where do the people from your state, the Bernie people from Minnesota, stand now? What's their sort of mood as they approach the last inning, prepare to leave town?
We have had an incredibly positive mood in our delegation. We worked really hard. Maybe we're a caucus state and we're kind of used to this. We're used to some protests. Nothing's always rosy. But Keith Ellison, who introduced Bernie as a congressman from our state, we announced our delegate count together. And we both worked really hard to make sure that we come together. And I think you'll see that. Saw that in our delegation. Of course, you're going to get people yelling here and there. It's a convention. It's the Democratic Party. But I think overall, this notion that people that want to do something about climate change are going to go support a guy that says it's a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese, or someone that wants to do more with diplomacy is going to go over and support a guy that just said that basically told Russia to engage in espionage. I mean, this doesn't feel like the Bernie supporters to me.
One of the things that she obviously wants to do, needs to do, is to fire up the members of the Obama coalition and get them to come out for her in large numbers. Do you sense that there's obviously going to be a lot of Democrats who are scared of Donald Trump and will turn out because they're scared of Donald Trump? Do you think there is now new reasons for them to be enthused for Hillary Clinton per se that they've learned about this week?
Yeah, I think first of all, you've seen some really exciting moments with icons coming out there, John Lewis and others that have come out and spoke and really talked from the heart about knowing her. Joe Biden's incredible speech yesterday. I'm not as concerned about that. I know the immigrant population is just about, they are fired up and ready to go, to use an Obama phrase. There's just a lot of people on our base. I think one of the things that you've seen this week that maybe surprises you when the whole focus has been on the Bernie people is there been outreach to independent voters. Tim Kaine did it last night with his suburban dad stories. You certainly saw Mayor Bloomberg do it when he talked about this isn't a reality TV show, this is reality, and he talked about building a business and what that takes, and just this some focus on the debt. You don't always hear that at every Democratic convention. So that's what I've truly appreciated is the fact that it just hasn't been about base building.
All right, the woman some call Senator Klobuchar, we call Klobuchar 2028.
Oh, stop.
Senator, thank you.